control in Thailand.
Is this the artwork out
Yes.
of control?
Yes.
Good.
And where I tried to confront some people with what they were doing, and I got defeated.
Right.
But
Is this
being-
fight a kind of performance inside of the picture? So, because I see the movement, for me, you are a performer artist, not a painter. But you try to use the medium painter to
Yes.
catch that moment
But
and
that's
to
very how can
explain
I
it
say?
in your with.
It's unconscious.
Oh, good.
It's
Can you
unconscious.
explain this passage?
For me, it's more or less when I try to depict something, I don't try to record it. I try to let my feelings out and use very direct brushstrokes, very straightforward.
Good. I wasn't talking about technical one. I wanted to know
I tried to do
which is
technique.
your impacts before you start painting. What do you do in that moment? Do you know something, or you find something
It's about
before starting painting?
I told you the subjects choose me. So, for example, that one, it's about our carelessness, about the end of the world, the destruction that is taking place, and it's about this habit of consumption that is taking place without our acknowledgement, because there's more important things going on in the background. And that came out spontaneously. And every painting I do comes out spontaneously.
That's why I felt this kind of two realities inside of your paint. You're a chaotic artist. That's why I love you, and the sense of appreciating your artwork. Yeah, for me, it's not easy being an artist with this kind of medium. I called you before accepting being your creator. Do you remember that? And it wasn't an answer that I did in the phone in our conversation. It was an answer and a question. Are you conscious or not?
I don't think I am so much conscious. I try to. I told you the subjects find me, so
Yeah.
it's mostly, sometimes it's humor, sometimes I'm making fun of something, but I'm also making fun of myself while painting it. So I try to be, if I'm ironic, I'm also self-ironic. If something is of interest for me, then I try to be somehow reflexive towards it, but to use the simplest methods possible. To not try to do something very elaborated,
Yes.
because then I feel I'm lying.
So you are conscious being brute.
Yes, but it's not that I'm lacking technique, it's that I find sometimes technique is like a cover-up. You render, you think of some things, and that will eventually show up as something fabricated.
Good.
And I don't want to do that. I want to be as direct as possible.
Good. I have a question. Do you feel local or global?
I feel global, for sure. I mean, I don't feel so much attached to my country or the traditions. I've lived in many places. I lived in Germany, Romania, Switzerland, Spain, Malaysia, Thailand.
But does Balkan is it like a trace in your art? Is something important Balkan for you?
For me,
so do you
Balkan-
feel Balkan or because we know Balkan is a very special country with a lot of culture. So this is the start. In this contradictional situation, we find a lot of artists from different countries of Balkan. As a curator, really, I love much more artists from Balkan than Europe, but this is my taste. Because in Balkan, we are researching. We are always in the move. Right? We like to be immigrants. We can be everywhere. But
as Balkan people,
we have
we
a
are
lot of elements to say. We have a lot of elements in our.
we are immigrants and we have a past that it means we overcame many things. Like you, for example, overcame the horrors of fascism, communism, like we did in Romania.
We have the same.
We have the same kind of background.
Story. Yeah.
But for me, mostly it's about the experience of my childhood and mostly about the colors that I held inside before I started painting. So for me, to be honest, it's about releasing colors that I have had inside of me before I started painting. So the painting that takes place now is a memory of the things when I was not a painter. So that's why I have, for the future, many things to paint. Because I was quiet for a long time, you understand?
So you
So
see
now
a
I'm
lot of archive and a lot of information maybe in this period.
Yes, there's a lot of recovery that I need to do, and there's a lot of painting ahead.
Yeah.
And it all transforms in how I dispose of colors. For me, color is the most important thing. It's not about form or even brushstroke right now. I don't master brushstroke, you know. I'm only beginning to understand what a master artist did with their brushwork. And I'm trying to reconcile with what was before me and to take some parts that I like. But I did not integrate them yet because I'm still a beginner, to be honest, you know?
Do you feel a beginner?
I feel like a beginner because sometimes
Every day?
every day, because the painting is leading me to where the painting wants to lead me, not where I want it to lead me. So even sometimes I have visions at night or something.
Do you?
I do. They're not transposable yet, so I finish a painting where it will take me. I always let the painting lead me where it wants me to lead me.
So you are true travelers in the bus. It is you and art, are you?
More or less, yes.
Good. And who's driving this bus?
I think my unconscious. So I'm not sure where
Is
it's
this bus open? Do you have any chairs again? So do you want to make another research or do other things? Do you feel that you know everything or you have something else to? How many chairs has this bus?
many.
No.
But for me, this is only a beginning. It's not the end of my story, you know? There's many stories to tell, and sometimes I stay cryptical. Maybe it's just projections on the social world, but it's not something that I want to be very. I am direct in my technique, but I'm not direct in my motives. So my motives maybe are sometimes about the conflict or a struggle, but I don't want to be very transparent with that. I want to be more transparent with how my painting looks like. So if you look at a painting of mine, I want you to see that it's not fabricated. That is just something spontaneous, which is what I do when I start to paint. Because I realized, for me, painting that is very fabricated and nicely drawn.
And this is not the time of paint, so it's not simple to paint in this period. But I want to jump in another. Let's jump somewhere. Another point that I was so excited, it was your manifesto, and the title is wrong. We are brut. We are everything you ever wanted. Can you explain this?
Because it's about direct expression, and I think every human should be entitled. I think expression is the opposite of depression. It's not joy that's the opposite of depression, it's expression. And I want to attract more people who want to express themselves freely. Even if they're lacking technique, or I don't think people are ever running out of ideas, you know? Everyone has a story, everyone has some ideas that they would like to paint. So I would like to encourage them to paint.
So your art, is it like a symbolism for the others? Do you
No,
want
it's
that,
it's an encouragement. It's an encouragement, even if you don't know how to paint or how to do art, you should just start. You know, it's like a Nike commercial, just do it.
I chose this paint because for me it was as a curator I saw your artworks, and for me this was mostly important for this occasion and in Tirana, because we are this kind of countries which we are transforming everything every day, you know.
It's true.
Post-communism countries has this kind of progress, latent progress from the Europe or the rest of the world. But I think that fighting, what kind of act is fighting? Why? Because for me, to fight has a lot of layers. I want to know why this fight.
Every fight is a fight against yourself. It's not a fight against other people. It sometimes looks like a fight against other people, but it's a fight against yourself. And I have, in my book, there's a lot of paintings about confrontation, about fighting, or about transgressing social norms. It's about having to deal with your demons, your exorcism. And that's a fight. And I think there's a lot of exorcism that goes on in the Balkans, you know, to move from why I find Albania very interesting is that it's the same like Romania in the 90s somehow, you know? It's the same as fighting against your past and hoping for a better future. And that's...
Is this a fight?
And that's a fight. It's a fight against your habits, your ideals, the power structure.
So is this a self-portrait of yourself?
I think every painting is a self-portrait in some way. Maybe it's a self-portrait. That's true for any artist, not just for myself. But for me, this painting is about how it started. Is I lost a battle against some things I believed in, but I must carry on my mission. And this mission is not just painting, it's life. You understand? So sometimes you choose to progress by accepting what is inside of you and going further and further to use that to make a personal progress. And that becomes your statement in the end. And that's a struggle.
I found it another page in your archive, which for me it's kind of very avant-garde point of view. is this your space, the space which you want to direct maybe your this travel? What does it mean, the perspective? What does it mean? Is this a road that has an end or not?
I don't think there's an end. So now you made me think, maybe there's someone who should continue this legacy. But in my manifesto, it's about people who allow themselves to express themselves freely, and they should continue doing so. So this is the road I want to encourage people to travel, to express themselves no matter what.
I have another question. When you go to the streets, do you feel the people is your world or you are against it?
No, I feel everyone is a friend of mine. For sure.
For you, is more sexy center or periphery?
I think both. Because the periphery defines the center. You know what I mean? And because when you're at the periphery, you're always defining what the center should do. And it's the other way around also. And that is important for politics. Because in politics, a true politician should always care about what the periphery really needs. But this right now has little to do with my painting. This is just my personal belief. So listen, I think, we live in capitalism, but my first instinct is that to make capitalism work, you should consider the needs of everybody. Just like if we were to cooperate with each other. And for that is needed the confrontation. Because the interest of the different classes in a social structure, they don't care about the others anymore. And that's why I find Albania so fascinating, because it's a small country and people really get to know each other and get to level with each other. And
we are like a child, we don't know nothing. No, so this is a beautiful.
No, I think you know a lot of things, but
maybe we know, but we love to say this is the beginning. We want to new, and you say new. This kind of challenge is not in a bad point of view, but it's beautiful. Sometimes I call it zero scratch level, and it's beautiful because when you stay in the scratch, you can go better result. It's a kind of travel.
I think so too. I think so too, and I think it's not even a scratch. I think it's more like to go down a valley and then to go up. So there is a point zero you're talking about, but there is a valley that Balkan people have gone through. You understand? So it's like it's more or less like a depression that Balkan people have gone through and now are going up. Because we understand what it means to be in a political system that is abusive. And Albania, for example, has gone through a lot, and so did Romania.
Yeah. Yes, but this is the fight, that we have almost.
Yes, but it's an inner fight.
Yeah.
So even if you lose, sometimes you just have to continue fighting. That's the
so
key.
you are against of what?
I'm against complacency. I think, like complacency means to be happy with the status quo. And everyone should find within themselves what they want to fight against within themselves. Even sometimes, the enemy is projected on the outside, but the enemy is on the inside, more or less.
Do you feel comfortable with the title that I chosen for you, Complexity of Confrontation?
Yes, I do feel comfortable because it's about people realizing exactly this dynamic that confrontation is a confrontation with what they have inside and what is happening on the outside. Because otherwise you're being hypocritical, If you're saying always, like in politics, always the politicians try to find the enemy being their opposition, certain people, and me as a persona on my Facebook or whatever, I try to make fun of that, I try to be humorous about what people are usually making their enemy of and scapegoating it.
Do you have walls?
I should build them more for my personal comfort, not for my art. For my art, no. There shouldn't be walls. But for my personal comfort, yes, because otherwise I wouldn't be a functioning human. But for my art, I don't think so. And this is why I promote being playful, being colorful, having no technique, being direct, being extroverted, and like you said, naive. But I'm only playing to be naive or stupid.
I want to finish this with this. It's beautiful what you say. So thank you for sharing your. It's not simple to share the brute and naive side. That's why I say yes to be your creator. I had very feelings with you. It was short. Yeah. I saw something special in you. And thank you again for this experience. And
Thank
hope
you.
that you feel good with this one. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bravo.